To begin today's presentation, I would like you to have a guess of my topic, but it seems like all these clues are shown on the screen, so you can have your answers in mind. And so the first clue is it is a city in America. The second clue is that this city is famous for jazz and alcohol. And the last one is, if you're a basketball fan, you probably know that they have this famous team called the Bulls in NBA. Okay, so I think some of you may already have answers in mind. So, yeah, the answer is Chicago. So, my topic today is, sorry, cannot be shown in the full screen. My topic today is called my favorite musical, Chicago. So, in this presentation, I will divide it into three parts. First, I will introduce a little background of the musical, and then some overall story plot of this musical. And in the second part, I will introduce one of my favorite songs in this musical. And for the last part of it, I will make some comparisons between the movie version and the original musical production. Personally, I haven't seen a live musical production myself, so most of the information will be movie-based. Okay. So first, I will introduce some facts about this musical. Chicago is actually a musical that holds many records. It has been seen by more than 30 million people around the world. It has been performed more than 30,000 times in the world, and even been adapted into 12 different language versions. But the most important record that it holds is it is the longest running musical in history, both in Broadway and in the West End. And what's so special about it is also that it's based on a real-life murder. This murder happened in 1926, based on a report by a reporter called Maureen Watkins, on a story which is about real criminals and talking about the crimes that they had committed. And it is also special because it's the reporter that these are the true crimes. So this original Broadway production was produced in 1975 and ran in Broadway until 1977 for about 936 performances. And then a year later performed in the West End for about 600 performances. But then it soon stopped because the musical the musical show has faded away, and people don't watch musicals that often. So it was not until 1996 that this musical Chicago started again in 1996 and performed until now. And then its revival in the West End is in about 1997, sorry. Okay, so let's jump to the story plot. So we have three main characters here. In the middle, you can see Roxy Hart. She's the housewife who dreams of becoming a star. But later on found out that she was taken advantage of by her lover. Her lover was originally intended to help her, but Roxy found out that he was lying to her. So Roxy killed her lover, and then when Roxy was trying to put the blame on her husband, but found out that she was lying, so Roxy was sent into the jail. After she was sent into the jail, she met her idol here called Velma Kelly. Velma Kelly is already a big star in the musical industry. So Roxy and Velma, but Velma was sent into the jail because she had murdered her husband and her sister when Velma found them two lying in the bed together. So Roxy and Velma both turned to Billy Flynn, this man on the left. He is a greedy and skillful lawyer who used his stories to help these two women to clarify their crimes. So the tensions increases as these two women both fight for their fame and to gain the center attention of the newspaper reporters. Okay, So next part, I'm going to introduce one of my favorite songs in this musical. It's called Cell Block Tango. So I will give you a little clue I hope you can play to give you a sense what this music is like.
每阶段一次到位，不走冤枉路，每一步都有影视美。
未来精华特惠组周年庆。
Okay, since I about to run.
It's okay, we can pause for
Pause.
you.
Oh,
Just
I'm
wait.
sorry.
It's better to use Chrome instead of IE. If you want to use better Chrome.
Oh, sorry. But I think we can appreciate the song later if we have time. Okay, so I can still jump straight into analyze this Selva tango. You may wonder that why did the director choose to use tango as the dance genre? Because there are so many borrowed dances in the world. But it's because tango is a dance genre that is passionate, sultry, and sexy. Normally, we will have the male as the leader in the dance and controls the power of the performance. But in this Selva tango, it's special because the women are the ones who receive power as they taking down and kill their male partners. And through the lyrics, you can hear after the first little opening of the song, it is coming up with beats with water dripping and footsteps, and then it will start the song. So the start starts with 6 words called pop, stick, squish, Cicero, and lifshits. And these separate words stands for each women murder. And there are 6 women in this scene called the 6 Mary murderesses. And so this scene happens in the women's jail, and they all have committed crimes to kill their boys or boyfriends or husbands. So, and you can also hear that he had it coming in the song, because if they had the time to go back to their original decisions, they will still kill their husbands, because these men deserve to be killed out of some reasons. Okay, next I'll talk about some of the symbols. Color is an important symbol in this movie, because here you can see the color red. Red is the is a representation of act of murder. And also red handkerchiefs. Handkerchiefs, if you see in the 20th century movie, it stands for like a lady will drop its handkerchief to try to gain a man's attention. So it serves as a feature to gain the audience's attention in the movie. But here you can see it changes into color white. Well, white represents this woman's innocence, because she is the only murderer that had nothing to do with her husband's death. Yeah, so she's innocent. That's why the director used the color white. Also, Velma. This is Velma. She smoked in this scene. So it is another notable fact that she smoked, because smoke is a symbol of power and control in films. Okay, the next part is about editing. So in this movie, the director used bars transitions often, because the women dance from the beginning behind bars. Here the bars is the railing in the jails. So he uses as a transitions to change between the characters' stories. And for the second, selected images is because after hearing the song, you will remember only a few. You will only remember the 6 women dressed in black, their male partners, and their handkerchiefs and other intercutting flashbacks. And the last reflects Ross's exchange, because in this stage it is her first night in the jail. So it stands for that it has changed. After seeing these 6 murders, she has begun gradually to become the real Roxy herself and pursue to her dreams. Okay, the last part is about the comparison. So for the direction, the movie edition is more like a loose interpretation because it does not contain that much choreography, but it's still pretty massive if you watch the movie. And for the presentation, cameras, movie can use camera shots, lighting, which musicals cannot afford because these are expensive. And for visual effects, the movie version can use background settings, pretty dynamic, and can change constantly to support the actors' performances. And for the last part is song submissions, because in the musical version there is an important role called the reporter. But in the movie it is not that important because the reporter in the movie does not sing songs. But in musicals the reporter does. So it's the difference that the audiences can choose to whether enjoy the musical production or the movie version. And so, yeah, if you have time, I think it's highly recommended that you watch this movie as a indoor to enjoy the musical movie because this movie has also won Oscar awards. So, yeah, thank you. This is the end of my presentation. Okay, do you have any questions? Yes?
What is your favorite scene in Chicago?
Oh, well, it's this song that I shared called Salva Tango. If you search the keywords on YouTube, it is a clip that lasts for about 7 minutes. So, and it is also notable that it's definitely the most classic scene that happens in Chicago. Although there are also other great songs too, but due to the time, I only share one of my favorites here. And it's also pretty stunning because for you will see almost hundreds of female dancers dressing only like socks or only bras and panties. So these are small. So that's pretty stunning to see in the first sight. But I think we have to admire the behind meaning why these scenes are designed like this, not to rather than to appeal to their sexual appealing. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
Have you seen the live show?
Oh no, as I mentioned before, I haven't seen the live version because you have to go to Broadway or the West End to see. But I'm not sure if it's capable to find a full musical version on the net. But I think you can try if you're interested in. But it is still recommended to see the movie version first. Yeah, it will give you a concept of what this musical will like because the real live musical production will last for 3 hours, but the movie version only lasts for about an hour and a half. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
So any others? Any musical lovers? Or just music lovers?
Okay, but maybe I can try to play the clip again. I hope it works. Okay. Can you hear the water dripping? The footsteps. And fingerprint.
Six. Squish. Cicero. Lipschitz.
Okay, and then they will jump straight into the main part of the song. So yeah, that's the clip I intended to show in the middle, but sorry I had to show it here. And hope you like this presentation. And if you have the chance to watch the movie yourself, I believe that you can have more insights when watching this movie. Yes?
So I have a question. I mean, you say the musical is about 6 women, right? Who murdered
Yeah.
their husband. So
Yeah.
why do you think the composer, the creator, wanted to present the story like this?
Because in the 1920s, Chicago is a city famous for murder, jazz, and alcohol. We know that alcohol is like the main source that will put people into a condition that you wouldn't know what had happened after you have drunk. So these women, because they lived in Chicago, and at that time, I think it's a prohibition era that makes Chicago stands out. So, there. Also, Chicago is famous for a tablet or something, and yeah. So, well, this story is just based on just like I say, it's based on a real report at that time. So, I think they may have some relation into the original real murder, but the director and author made some adjustments to the stories and make this song in the original 1975 production. Yes. That's it. And any other questions?
Okay.
No?
So thank you very
Okay,
much.
so thank you everyone.